Welcome into the CPS 360 Coaches Show. I'm Matthew Rothermich. Today's Coaches Show features the Hickman High School football team. We open the show with a story that features a special relationship found on the Hickman sidelines between the kicker, punter, and the special teams coach. The life of a high school kicker isn't always the easiest. More often remembered for misses and miscues rather than completions and successes. The kicker doesn't always find love on the sideline. But at Hickman High School, their kicker, Andrew Wheelahan, shares a bond with one member of the sideline that is much bigger than the game of football. For Wheelahan, or Wheels, kicking is in his blood. Wheels is the son of Mizzou kicking great Tom Wheelahan, who still holds the record for the longest field goal at MU with a 62-yarder. But Tom's kicking days are over. Now, he has a much more important job than kicking field goals himself. As a special teams coach for the Cupies, Tom now gets to coach his son.
Pretty special because, being a kicker, there's not really people that want to talk to you on the sidelines because they're all like, screw him, he's the kicker, he doesn't do anything. But then with my dad, he's been a kicker and he also has a high football IQ, so it's fun to be able to talk to him and ask him questions about the game because I still don't understand half the crap that goes on in the game, so he's just there to explain it for me.
It's totally awesome. I think the cool part is that he's got a little game to himself. That's the cool part. And number two, it's just getting to spend more time with my son, which is totally awesome. So yeah, it's a win-win.
Andrew has had plenty of his own success. Being the kicker for the last 3 years and the punter for the last 2, Wheelahan has played a key role for Hickman since his sophomore year.
After each year, I feel I just get stronger naturally, and I get better. I get better coaching from my father, all the special teams coach, and it's just a natural progression. I just put in the work, and hopefully it pays off. My favorite moment in all years playing for Hickman would either be the first extra point I made at Mizzou against CBC with Coach Monroe, or the first field goal I made this season against Jackson.
Another special bond is often found between a kicker and the long snapper. And for freshman long snapper Addison Barnett Hill, he had nothing but praise for Andrew.
Especially on field goals, we can rely on him to make them, and on kickoffs to get the touchback. Tight punts, if it's a high snap, he'll catch it. Low snap, he'll catch it. And he'll pin it in the 5 if we need it.
For the Wheelahans, Tom and Andrew share a loving bond, but their relationship is also a competitive one, especially when it comes to who is still the better kicker.
We all know the answer is yes. Come on, seriously. Who knows who's the best? But he's always shooting. You always tell your kids, shoot for the stars because you may reach them someday. And every now and then a squirrel finds a nut. He hasn't found his nut yet, but he's getting there. But no, he can't hold my jockstrap.
It's clear that the competitiveness between the Wheelahans push Andrew to be great, but the love shared between the two is what really makes this duo special. With CPS 360, I'm Matthew Rothermich. Next up, we bring to you an interview with head coach Trevor Rubley. I sat down with Coach to discuss a variety of topics as he makes his coaching debut for Hickman this season. Thanks for joining me, Coach. You have quite the lengthy resume when it comes to coaching. What have been some of your previous coaching stops, and how long have you been in the coaching business?
This is my 14th year coaching football. Places I've been, started in Warrensburg High School for 1 year. That was my very first coaching job. Went on to Texas at Cisco Junior College for 3 years. After that, I was fortunate enough to get the graduate assistant job at University of Missouri for 2 years. After I got my master's degree, I moved on and went to Bacone College in Muskogee. I was there for 5 years. 5 years as a defensive coordinator, 4 as a head coach. And then I went on to Enid High School down in Oklahoma for 2 years, and then up here to Columbia, Missouri.
You mentioned your Missouri ties. Was that one of your incentives to come to Columbia and coach for the Cupies?
Yeah, my wife's family's from here, and every time that we had Christmases and Thanksgivings and all that, we would drive up here, and we just saw how much the kids had fun. We have a 6 and a 3-year-old, and how much fun they had with their cousins and their aunts and their uncles and their grandma and grandpa. And it was just a good feeling for them. So then when we go home, and they didn't really have anybody, we didn't have any help. So that was kind of a goal. Now, family's most important to us, and having them around has been a blessing.
Hickman High School has a pretty unique mascot in the CUPE. How do you feel about the CUPE? Do you enjoy it? Do you embrace it? Or do you dislike it?
No, I like it. I've embraced it. At the beginning, I have to be honest, I was like, a CUPE, like, what made that, who made that decision and why? But now that, you know, I've been here and kind of seen the tradition around it, and being the only one in the nation to have that, you know, it's unique and it's special. I'm going to tell you the truth. I did get kind of harassed by my old coaching staff about it. They made some videos, and a little baby talking, said, "I'm a Hickman QB," you know, just playing around. It was pretty funny, but we've embraced it, and I'm proud to be a QB.
Do you see yourself as more of a defensive-minded or an offensive-minded coach?
I've been a defensive-minded coach for pretty much. I've only coached 1 year of offense previous to this year, but being at the high school level for the last 2 years, I've seen how much the head coach needs to kind of have hands-on offense as far as controlling the game, keeping your guys in games, even though you might be, overmatched. So I've kind of made the transition to at least help out with offense. And also I know what I don't like when I see it defensively when offenses are running, giving me problems. So I try to be kind of almost the offensive analyst with a defense perspective and help out our offensive coaches call plays and stuff.
The Hickman football program's had a lot of turnover. You're the third coach in 3 years. How do you build stability for this program moving into the future?
I think consistency is something that you have to look for as a program. That's one thing. When the interview process came about, I said that I'm here at least until, my kids graduate high school, and, they're 6 and 3. So that's a while off. So if they'll let me, I'll continue to coach and be part of this program. So I think that definitely does help. I feel for the kids that have been in this program and had 3 different coaches in the 3-year span. Hopefully we can get some consistency and start to buy in and keep the same terminology going and the same coaches and build that relationship. It's only going to help us.
What goals do you have for your team this year?
To continue to get better each and every game. Unfortunately we lost on Friday night against Jackson, so we're not there yet. Jackson, good football team, not taking anything away from them, but as long as we improve from week 1 to week 2 to week 3, week 4, that's pretty much our goal, to where kind of the way the Missouri high school football is set up is we have that week 10, and that's when districts start. I kind of told our kids, let's hang our hat on that game, and as long as we're improving each and every week, let's be good enough to win that 10th game, get an extra week of practice, and get another game under our belt. So that's kind of what we're pushing for. Hopefully we're striding before that, but I think that's something that we can hang our hat on and continue to see that there's something at the end of all this that we can continue to work for, even if we struggle early.
That's all we have for this episode of the CPS 360 Coaches Show. Thank you for tuning in, and have a good day.